Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with the Moom. Here's the coffee, here's the Moom. Today we're going to talk about one of the most important things about any career choice, but especially comedy. What value you bring to a show, what value you bring to your own career, what value you bring to other people. One of the things that a lot of people tend to do is they kind of only think about what value the show can bring them. They think about what value the club can bring them. They think in terms of how can other people serve me. When you have that attitude, you're probably not going to succeed at the rate at which you hope, because you're only going to be looking for the things that have instant gratification. What I want to encourage you to think about is, how do you bring value to a show? How do you bring value to the workplace? How do you bring value even to a relationship? Because if it's one person doing all the work, trust me, they're going to get rid of you real quick. So one thing that you can do as a comedian is your value in your first year is obviously you can bring a few people to the show. And I'm not a bringer guy. I don't believe in bringers. I don't believe in bringer shows. But in some ways, that might be the fastest way to get a couple of gigs, is you say, hey, I got a couple friends that want to see a show, and you bring them. If you're still doing that, like dragging friends to shows in year 4, 5, 6 plus on, then, well, how's your comedy doing? Like, are you only getting booked because you can bring a couple of people? Or are you getting booked because you're funny? And that's the next stage. The value you bring to the show is the humor level. It is the professionalism. It is the ability to make a room laugh. Maybe the booker sees you as somebody they can put in the middle that can keep the energy going. Or maybe they see you as a potential host who can start getting the energy up high. These are all different ways. One second here. These are all ways in which you can bring value. And then down the road, you bring value through your credits. You bring value through your ability to be able to do a 15, 20, 40-minute set. And not everyone can do that right away. In fact, most comics can't do 30, 40, 50 minutes. So if you can do 30, 40, 50 minutes, that's another set of value. But it starts with, can you bring a person or two to a show? Then after a while, it turns into, can you bring value by being funny? Now, other ways you can bring value, just like in anything, is maybe administratively. Maybe you can help book the show, help produce the show, help bring better comics to the show. Maybe you can help set up the show. You know, I know a lot of comics who have gotten together over the years. They start a show together, and they weren't the strongest comics. Some were really strong, some weren't. But one of the peoples, they could help set up the stage. They could get there early and make sure that the venue was ready to go, the chairs were put together, all that kind of stuff. So as you're starting to look at where you fit in the LA comedy scene, and read the article that I have in the newsletter, because that's going to talk a lot about where you probably fit best or where you probably should be looking to get booked, just keep in mind that the value you bring to the show will determine the type of bookings you get in the beginning. And if you start off doing comedy as a model, actor, actress, where you already have a big fan base, you might skyrocket to the top a lot faster. But for the rest of us that are starting with no credits and just kind of a funny idea or a funny setup or a funny story, just keep in mind that you can bring value in other ways. And if you continue to look for the ways in which you can bring value, you will get better bookings, you will get better gigs, you will meet better comics. In fact, if you applied this to every area of your life, where can you bring value? You'll find relationships, work, everything will just be a little better. And so that is our Coffee with the Moom.